Hi and welcome to Gardening with DC. In today's Doing Stuff video, we're here in the Hunter Valley at the Bimbadgen Winery with Richie Doan, and we're going to answer a really important question. If you choose to spend quite a bit of money on a bottle of wine, let's say at least $100, what are some of the things that you can do to try and elevate your enjoyment of that wine? So, Rich, the first question is cellaring and racking. If I bought an expensive bottle of wine, should I be thinking I need to cellar this for a period of time? Should I be thinking I need to drink it straight away? Mm-hmm. How should I be storing it? What are some of the things that I should be thinking of there?
Yeah, okay, I guess the stories around buying expensive wine and cellaring, it's most certainly true, without a doubt. The more expensive the bottle of wine, usually the longer it will last. So, if you buy a Shiraz this year, it may be drinkable in 30 years' time. To maximise that and to make that able to be done is all around temperature as well. So, for me at home, my fridge is set at 17, 18 degrees, so that's for reds and whites whilst they are cellaring. And then when I'm going to bring someone home or whatever for a dinner party, the white will go in the fridge before they arrive. But when it comes to cellaring for age, most definitely those fluctuations in temperature is the biggest thing you have to watch. So anywhere sort of between 15 and 20 degrees is perfect, but as long as it's not going 15 to 40 degrees, the big fluctuations are the big problem there.
So that's sort of cellaring, racking. I presume, should we always keep our wine horizontal, or is vertical okay as well?
Very much. If it's got a cork seal, it needs to be horizontal.
Okay.
These days with Stelvin or screw caps, it is okay to leave them standing up. Okay. But for me, still at home, I lay everything down. Yep. That means that the little air pocket is at the back of the bottle instead of the front. Okay. Whereas if you've got it standing up, the air pocket is always at the top, okay, which is where your little bad microbial issues and things come from.
Okay.
So
We want those
at the back.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
But cork, without a doubt. So that cork is nice and wet and never dries out. It'll last a lot longer.
So let's say I've spent quite a bit of money on this bottle of wine, and I've got a nice group of people that I want to enjoy it with. Let's say I'm going to aim. I'm not this anally retentive, obviously, Rich, but I'm going to aim to start drinking it at 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Should I be opening it at 6 o'clock and decanting it to let it breathe? I'm saying these terms, but I don't know what the chemistry is. I don't know what that means. Yep. Could you illuminate these things for me?
Look, I won't go into the chemistry world too far. I'll bore everyone. But I guess what is happening, we make wines in two ways. So wine is made oxidatively, which means the introduction of oxygen is what we want, or we make it reductively, which is meaning that we're trying to eliminate oxygen in the wine. So red wine can be made in both manners and can be bottled in both styles. So essentially, if your wine is bottled reductively, it will hold on to characters that are a little bit softer and more sort of pungent, if you like, which meaning that you will need to decant it pretty much for an hour or even 2 hours. What is happening there is oxygen essentially is getting in, breaking up the chemical compounds, dispersing the reductiveness,
loosening everything up,
just breathing and opening yourself up and allowing those beautiful aromatics to jump out of the glass. Whereas if it's already nice and fresh, putting more oxygen by decanting it can possibly start sort of oxidising and bruising those aromatics. So it all depends on what wine it is.
And would there be a relationship between the age then with those?
For sure.
So the younger, the more vibrant it is, the less it needs the air. The older it is, the more you're going to get the benefit.
Absolutely.
From the air. Okay.
Without a doubt.
Now you spoke about temperature at storage. But what about temperature when drinking? So again, and maybe this is a sort of a British UK thing from growing up. Red wines on a sort of on a cold, wet weekend, opening up the red wine, putting it close to an oven, something like that. What's happening there? Is that important? Is it where we're getting a benefit? What sort of temperature should we be serving at, drinking at?
Yeah, I guess just to cover off on the oven thing, if you like, again, it's the same thing with being a reductive style of wine, sort of suppressing aromatics and oxidation. The colder it is, the less aromatic the wine is as well.
So again, there's atoms being agitated.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'd still do it at home. My fridge is set at 17, 18, like I mentioned before. If we're having someone over for dinner and it's a little bit of a cold evening, I'll grab the bottle of red out, put it in front of the oven whilst we're cooking, and just sort of lift it up 1 or 2 or 3 degrees. And that for me is just starting that explosion of aromatics straight away. Temperature for serving, really, for me, 17 to sort of 22 is kind of the sweet spot. But there's no real hard and fast rule with that.
I must ask you, sorry, and
Apologies.
This is very, very, very important for lots of people. Size of the glass.
Okay.
So as big as possible without it becoming a mixing bowl. Would that be sort of correct for that fuller, stronger?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the easiest examples to go for are a champagne flute. Nice, tight and linear for a champagne because it's very delicate and you don't want too much oxygen to get in. And then progressing from there, your Rieslings, your Semillons, again, are very delicate styles, so the glass is going to be smaller. But as soon as you get into Chardonnays and then into your Shiraz and Cabernets and things, the glass most definitely can be larger. So if you're getting into a very old school style Chardonnay, if you've got a really big balloon, almost one of those sort of brandy balloons, perfect for an old school Chardonnay, Burgundy, Australian sort of old school stuff. For Shiraz, I do like a big glass, but I still like it to taper in at the top because it is still quite delicate. So we don't want it to be a big brandy balloon. We want it to be big so we can get air in, but then we want it to capture the aromatics within the glass as well.
So we're getting a sort of slow release.
Absolutely. Or
slow intake.
Yeah, that's right. And then with Pinot, I guess for an example, the shape is kind of a brandy balloon, but then it comes in quite sharp at the top. So that is getting in and getting the oxygen to get those aromatics out, but then very much keeping them in the glass so you can smell them when you're trying it at home.
Rich, that's been terrific. Right, so interesting stuff there from Richie Doan. Let's give it a little bit of a road test. Helping me out to do this is Nick Bryant, CEO of Roomres. Now, I'm not much of a red wine drinker. Nick, I happen to know that you're a bit more of a red wine drinker, so hopefully these things are going to balance them out in terms of a breadth of view on the tastings. Is that a fair thing to say?
Well, we will find out.
What we're going to do, Richie sort of spoke about 3 things, so temperature, oxidization, letting the wine breathe, and also the glass that you are drinking from. Now, we're not going to worry too much about the temperature. We're going to take it as a bit of a given that we want to be serving our red at room temperature. But we are going to have a look at oxidization, letting it breathe, and also the vessels that we're using. So in each of the tests that we're going to do, and you can probably have a bit of a clue that we're going to have 3, we're going to use 3 different glasses. All okay so far?
Yeah, great.
Okay, so the wine that we're going to be using is, or I should say, was made by Richie. So it's the Bimbadgen Signature Shiraz. Retails at the cellar door for approximately around about $90. So should we get underway, Nick?
Yeah.
Shall I? Okay.
Pour the wine.
So let's crack the seal. Thank you for your patience while that was poured away. So the scenario is we've bought ourselves an expensive bottle of red wine. We're so excited.
It's a familiar scenario.
It's a familiar scenario. And we're so excited that we're going to just jump straight in. And you know what? We're just going to grab any bloody glass that we have got. So we've just grabbed a couple of champagne flutes. So just have a little... we don't need to be too fancy. We don't. So just have a taste of that.
Very
Happy with
nice.
that? Happy with that? Okay, now let's use. We've been a bit more careful here, and we've gone for a slightly bigger red wine glass. So we've gone to the back of the cupboard now. We've said, "Oh, get out of the way, champagne flutes," and we've gone a slightly bigger red wine glass.
Cheers.
Was there a perceptible difference, do you think?
Not immediately obvious.
Not immediately
perceptible
obvious.
difference, I would
Okay.
say.
All right. Now, in this scenario, we have we've actually bought some fancy red wine glasses. They make a nice sound. So we've cracked open the bottle of red, and we're going to go straight in. What do you think? Do you want to do a compare and
Yeah.
contrast with the
Interesting.
flute?
Yeah.
And
I always drink wine like this, by the way.
okay. I'm not sure, but then I'm not much of a wine drinker. I'm not sure I'm picking too much up there. What about you as the more learned and experienced colleague?
I think there is a difference. I think that, but it's largely on the nose. Yeah, you get more of the wine, I think, in the larger glass.
Okay, so there we go. Straight from the get-go, a little bit of a difference between the glass. Okay, so not much of a difference for me, but Nick, a bit of a difference for you.
Yep.
in terms of the aroma effectively coming out of that glass. On
Yeah,
that,
and the
on that
aroma
first-
obviously has a distinct impact on the taste as
Yep,
well. So,
yep,
yeah.
okay. So now what we're going to have a look at, so same style of glasses, but we're going to have a look. This was opened, and this has been breathing for approximately an hour
Great.
now. So we're going to have a look at what impact that has had in terms of the oxidization, the letting it breathe. So let's, should we start with the flutes?
Thank you.
Again.
Cheers.
Chin, chin, chin. What do you think?
I'd say that's had a significant difference. Really soften the tannins. Yeah, I'd say that has significantly improved the wine.
Significantly improved there as compared to. Yeah, we can. Okay, we'll take that.
It was a stingy pour, wasn't it?
We'll take that. We'll take that as a tick. Okay, let's go the slightly bigger red wine glass. I'm going to start doing some smelling as well. Oh, now.
Yeah, it's really opened
Now
up.
it really has a marked difference there. Let me just go back to my. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's quite clear.
yeah, much smoother, much cleaner. I know these aren't very winey type terms, but yeah, cleaner.
You are a bit
smoother.
whiny though.
All right. Okay. Okay. So on that
Let's
note,
move on from
let's
that.
move on. Okay. So our fancier glasses. Okay. Might give it a bit of a. No, I can't swear. See now, so this goes to a point that Richie made in the video. Although it's I think it's less about the aromatics as he would call it, but with the we're a bit more bulbous on the top of the glass here, a bit more tapered. It's just a sort of a slower, cleaner release. Yeah, I can definitely notice a difference now between those.
Yeah, I think there's a
two.
Yeah,
Concur?
yeah, I agree.
Okay, so
This is a great quality wine as well, actually. I should say.
thank you. Well, thanks, Richie, for that one. Okay, so all seems to be going according to the edicts, or at least the thoughts and opinions of Richie that he laid down so far. Let's have a look and do a final taste. So here we've got exactly the same wine that I cracked open, just another bottle there. So that was decanted, so it's been breathing now for approximately 2 hours. So we'll just do the same test again. So we'll pour away, hopefully. Okay, a bit less spiritual. Okay, so thanks for waiting there. So let's give the champagne flute again. So I think we probably know, but let's try and put any bias that we have to the back of our mind. You know, it might come up trumps here, but I think we probably know that the flute isn't going to be entirely successful. No, that was my first. It's better, isn't it?
It is much better.
Yeah, much smoother. Even though we're in the fluteroonie.
I'm intrigued to see how we go with this flight, because even in the champagne flute, I think that's the best glass of wine we've tasted so far.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go red wine glass that's a bit more conflated at the top there. It's very fruity, isn't it? Do you think the fruitiness is increased?
Yeah, I think the depth of flavour has definitely improved. I think the tannins have softened significantly. I mean, particularly compared to the first bottle, which was clearly still really very closed. I think it's a much more drinkable glass of wine after a couple of hours in a decanter. No doubt about it.
Okay. So let's go what should be ideally number one. Let's see. Well,
cheers.
Thank you for taking part.
Well, it was an easy yes.
I hope it hasn't been too much of a burden.
Oh, it's been a terrible burden. What a great glass of wine that is.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It really is. Yeah, it really, really is.
So, I think the answer is in the drinking there. So what we can say is, if you want to go out, or you have been out, bought yourself an expensive bottle of wine, and you want to sort of unlock as much enjoyment from that wine as possible, definitely show a little bit of patience. Open it, decant it, and if you haven't, at the same time, or go out and get some nice red wine glasses that are quite bulbous there, a bit more tapered, it definitely helps, doesn't it?
Cheers.
Nick, thank you, and cheers to you. Thanks, everyone.